Okay, I'm going to go through and do the CBA review together. So I want you to write an inequality that represents the domain. Remember, the domain is the x's. That's the x-axis. So you're looking for the lowest x. So right here is the furthest left this picture goes, right here. And I am at -6. And the highest it goes to the right is here at 2. All the other x's are in the middle. And I always write my inequality signs on a compound inequality like this. This is a solid dot, so it's equal. This is an empty dot, so it's not equal. So that's my domain. My range are my y's. So this is lowest to highest. Remember, this is left to right. And then your range is down to up. So the lowest this line goes is right here, and I'm looking at the y-axis. So on the y-axis, I am at -5. I'm looking at the highest this line goes, which is here. On the y-axis, I am at 25. I put the y in the middle, and I put my signs. Here on the lowest, it's an open dot, so it's not equal. Here it's a closed dot, so it is equal. Okay, number 2 is the exact same picture of this one. So we already have them written, and it wants you to pick the one that represents the range. Remember that the range is the y's. So again, the lowest it went, which was -5, the highest it went, which was 25, the y is in the middle, and I go like this. This one is not equal to, this one is. Now, when you read this out loud, you read it in terms of y. You do not read it left to right. You don't say -5 is less than y, which is less than or equal to 25. You read this as y is between -5 and -25, or y is greater than -5, because y is greater than -5, but it is less than or equal to 25. So you're looking for the one that says that. The all real numbers, it's just saying all numbers between those two numbers. So you're looking for the one that says that. Well, A says all real numbers greater than or equal to -5. Well, it's not or equal, so it can't be that one. B says all real numbers that are greater than or equal to -6. Well, okay, B and C are out because they both say -6, so it has to be D. All real numbers that are greater than -5, but less than or equal to 25. Letter B. If the range of the above graph was written as an inequality, how would you write it? Well, we already wrote it right here. -5 is less than y, which is less than or equal to 25. Oh, sorry. I didn't pick. I switched them, so it's D. -5 is less than y, which is less than or equal to 25. It's the D. All right, number 3. If you read the question, it says, what is the range? Range is the y-axis. Range is lowest to highest on the y-axis. So I follow my line as far down as I can go, which is here. On the y-axis, I am at 0. The highest this line goes on the y-axis is up to 100. Y is in the middle. It is 0 because this is a solid dot, so or equal to, and it is 100. So how would I read this? In terms of y, I would say y is greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 100. Well, this one is talking about 0 and 50. They tried to confuse you because that is the domain. It didn't ask for domain, it asked for range. B says all real numbers greater than or equal to 0. That's good. And less than or equal to 100, and that's good. Number 4. What is the domain? Remember that domain is the x's. You can eliminate 2 of these answers based off if this is a continuous or discrete graph. This answer is discrete, and there's something else wrong with it. This says y, and we know domain is x, so that has to be out. This also says y. There's no way a domain is y, domain are x's. So technically I didn't even need to do this one. This is a domain, but it's a discrete domain, meaning the graph would just be dots like this. And this is a continuous graph which this graph is continuous because the dots are connected, so it has to be D. But let's talk about it. Domain is furthest left to furthest right on the x-axis. This is the furthest left. This is the furthest right. And x is everything in the middle. And it's equal to them because they're solid dots. Number 5. A function has the following ordered pairs. What is the domain? This is a discrete function. Domain is x's, so you simply list 25, 50, 75, 100. That's your answer. Number 6. This is a mapping diagram. It asks for the domain. Remember, the domain are the x's. So I have -2, -1, 0, and 2. So the answer was B. Number 7. Which graph represents a function with a domain? So we're talking about x's of all real numbers greater than -2. So the domain needs to be between -2 and 7. But it says greater than -2, so no equal sign, but less than or equal to 7. So we're looking for a domain like this. The first thing I'm going to look for is the empty dot on the -2. So this one's good. This one's out. First of all, that's not even a -2. This one's not even a -2. And this one's not even a -2. So it has to be A. But let's check it and make sure it goes to +7 with a solid dot, which it does. All right, number 8. Which graph represents a function with a range? This is the important part. We're looking for a range. Remember, range is y's. A range of all real numbers greater than or equal to -10. So y is greater than or equal to -10. That means -10 is the lowest point, and all the other y's have to go up because it's greater. So this has all the y's going down, so it's out. This has all the y's going down, so it's out. So it has to be one of these two. The lowest it goes is -10, which is here, so that's out. So the answer is B. This is the lowest it goes, is -10, with all the other y's going above it. Number 9, which set of ordered pairs represents y as a function of x? All it's asking is, which one is a function? Remember that a function, no x repeats. So I have 0, 2, -5, -5. That's out because the -5.5s. I have 5, 3, -9.2, +9.2, and that's the answer because these are two different numbers. Number 10. Which inequality best represents the range? Range is y's. So I can mark off two answers right away because they have nothing to do with y's. This one and this one. Okay, the range. This is a compound inequality, so I can mark that out because a compound inequality would be dot to dot. Remember, this is a dot with a line, with an arrow. So it has to be B, but let's look at it. This is the lowest the y-axis goes, which looks like it's at 250,000, and everything else is above. Number 11, which representation shows y as a function of x? So you're going to perform on graphs a vertical line test. Remember, your vertical line can only touch once. This touches twice. That's not a function. This touches twice. That's not a function. On mapping diagrams, you just make sure no x repeats. So here, doesn't repeat, doesn't repeat, doesn't repeat, because there's only one line coming out, so that's a function. Down here, 22 repeated, so that is not a function. Number 12. Number 12 wants you to write the domain and range of this. It is a dot connected to a dot, so this is a compound inequality. Remember, your domain is your x's, so that's furthest left to furthest right. The furthest left it goes on the x-axis is -5. X goes in the middle. The furthest right it goes is here at 5. And then they are equal to because the dots are solid. The range is lowest to highest. So remember, my lowest point on the y-axis is here. Where am I at on the y-axis? I am at 0. The highest point is here, which is at 6 on the y-axis, and range is y's. And they are touching them, so yes, they're equal. Number 13, which graph represents a function? You perform a vertical line test. How many times did this line touch? Once. That's a function. This is not because it touches twice. This is not because right here it would touch twice. And this is not because if I drew a vertical line, it would literally touch all over the place. So no. Number 14, which set of ordered pairs is a function? A function, the x's don't repeat. I have 0, -1, -1, that's out. -1 repeated. 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. Nope, it's out. 0, 0. Nope, it's out. 0, -1, -2, -3, -4 is correct. Now, number 15, be careful with the wording. It says which graph does not represent a function, which is A because it touches twice. Here it only touches once, 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 once. Number 16, given f of x equals 5 times 3 plus x, what is the value of f of -2? You have two options. You could do this yourself by just plugging it into your calculator. So you would just say, what is 5 times 3 plus the value of x is -2? Or you could go to y equals and put this in and get the output. So either way would work. If you do it this way, you would just say 5 times 3 plus -2, and the answer is 5. On these are algebra. There's no decimal up here, so you can literally put 5 right here and then bubble it in. You also could have gone to y equals and typed in 5 times 3 plus -2 and gone to your table. Oh, I meant to put x. Sorry. 5 times 3 plus x, and then go to your table to see when it's -2, which it's at 5. So either way would be right. Number 17. Which statement describes the mapping? Well, they're wanting to know it is a function. This says it is a function. This says it's not a function. This says it is a function, and this says it's not. So let's look at it first. The x's are not repeating, so it is a function. So the nots are out. That's a not, and that's a not. So it has to be a function. And remember, the reason it's a function is because every x has only one y. Okay, so the answer is H. This says because each y, we don't care about the y, we care about the x. Number 18, which representation is a function? This doesn't repeat, doesn't repeat, doesn't repeat, doesn't repeat. So A was the answer. Last one. Given this equation, what is the value of g of 1/4? You had to plug in 1/4 for x. You cannot do this in your y equals button because your y equals not going to give you x as a decimal or fraction. So you had to say what is 10 times 3 minus 1/4. So I said, what is 10 times 3 minus 1/4? And the answer is 55 halves, which is not going to be like that on your test, so change it to a decimal. So you would hit math, choose option 2 for decimal, and that's your answer, 27.5.